6 titled, Pro Cities Mount Rushmore. So we are going to be looking at our Reds and Bengals divisional foes and coming up with their Mount Rushmores for them. So hopefully you'll agree with us, and then you can just looking at that on live YouTube and listen to all the podcast, and then just give us a thumbs up, thumbs down if you agree or not with us. So, but before we begin, gentlemen, how was your week?
Oh, pretty good. Can't complain.
Yeah, it was good. A little long, but it was good. I don't think anything too memorable. So.
Nope.
Little poor showing at the Keeneland racetrack yesterday. So.
Yep. All right.
I know of a career I can X off for my future.
Yes.
My future retirement.
There we go. All right. We are going to start real quick. It's the week that was. It's a pretty blank slate. UC was the only team that really played this past week, and they defeated UCF 19-13. I don't think you saw anything, Crawley, and I know I didn't see anything.
I actually caught the very last minute.
Okay.
When I got home, it was I listened to a little bit on the radio, and I caught the last minute. But yeah, I didn't see. That's it in terms of actually watching it. So sounds like they won, which is ultimately what matters.
I watched a good portion of it. It's kind of just a sloppy, I don't really know how to describe it, because I don't, most in this day and age, that scoreline you would say, oh, defensive struggle, but I mean both teams were actually moving the ball really well. They were just turning it over left and right. I think there was UCF fumbled, then UC threw an interception, then UCF fumbled again, bang bang bang, in the first quarter. So I mean it was just kind of more of a sloppy game, I would say. But I mean sometimes you just gotta win, and they were able to hang on there at the end. Kind of a last second stand, I guess. And I mean, they got the win. Defense played pretty well. I mean, they gave up some yards, but they forced, I think, 3 or 4 turnovers. So I mean, they played pretty well. I mean, now they're 2-1 in the conference.
Yeah,
so it's one more win than they had in the conference last year already. So I mean, that's good. So
yep, and then they got Arizona State next week.
Kind of a surprise. They've been playing really well. So
right, they have, but
UC's homecoming, so
yeah,
should be a good crowd. So I mean, they have players. I mean, UC's they've got the quarterback. They've got a couple receivers. Xavier, I saw Xavier Henderson only had 2 catches, so other receivers had to step up, and Tony Johnson had 8. So Royer's still catching the ball. So offensively, I guess they didn't play great in terms of putting it in the end zone of any sort. They only scored 19, but they played just well enough. Defense, like you said, Sam, played well enough as well. But they got the win, and it's UCF, which is always good to beat them because
they're so annoying. I mean, they're so annoying.
Basically. I mean, it's UC South. I mean, 3 UC transfers went there, and 1 dude already left again.
Right.
So he's gone, and I heard what's his
running
name?
Back, Montgomery.
Well, Miles Montgomery. I don't think he did anything yesterday, but the other
was
one
out. I think
he didn't even play.
Pace was the only one that played.
Pace had played, and I heard he was mouthing off the whole game and stuff. So, which I think is why he's not here anymore as well. All 3 of those guys were not. They didn't choose to leave. All 3 of those guys were asked to leave.
Yeah, and I think that's Satterfield saying I got to get my own guys in here. I can't. If I'm going to go down on a burning ship, I'm going to go down with the guys I want and not Fickle's guys. So,
he still needs to work on his red zone play calling. It's atrocious. I mean, it's almost like he doesn't have red zone plays. Like he doesn't have anything on his play sheet for the red zone. It's like he's calling 4 verticals from the 5-yard line, and everybody's just kind of running straight. Like there's no creativity, there's no picks, there's just like he's calling a normal, like they're at the 37-yard line. And he needs to fix that because I mean, against an actual good team, we've seen where that's just not going to get it done. You've got to walk away with touchdowns. You can't kick 3 field goals in the red zone.
All right. Homecoming next weekend, so hopefully big crowd, big turnout, get Nippert hopping and rocking. And do you know the time for that?
Noon.
Noon.
Another noon game. Every home game is at noon. At this point.
At this point.
Has been.
So we'll see where they're at least it's on. Is it on ESPN2 again, or is it the Plus? They've been on ESPN2 a lot.
Hopefully it's on because every ESPN Plus broadcast sucks. The streaming just sucks.
Yeah.
You're lucky if you can see the guy's numbers half the time.
Yeah, I'll be there. So I don't know. I don't. Yeah, it's on the road. I look at TV. So yeah, right. I think do have a little bit of advantage. Arizona State will be playing at 9 in the morning or 10 in the morning for their body clock will be way too early. So
it'll be a little.
They better take advantage of that. So the UC better.
Yeah, it'll be a little nippy for them at Nippert.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like NFL teams. That don't. I mean the record is always poor for West Coast teams coming to East Coast when they have to play at 1. So this is even earlier than that. So hopefully that'll be a little bit of an advantage. We can take all we can get.
Yes. All right. Let's move on. FC Cincy, they had a bye. They're up.
The whole league's on
a bye.
International break. So
they'll play Philly on the 19th. Thoughts on that? I mean, anything?
I mean, just, it's one more game to fine tune before the playoffs. They're locked into the 3rd seed, and so they will play a best of 3 in the first round. And, I don't even know what I would do with that game. I think you got to get your starters, your main guys some minutes, but do you play Costa the whole game? Do you play, you can't better or worse your seed. So I think they need minutes. I mean, again, MLS, their stupid schedule. Like you have right at the end of the season, you have a 2-week break, which is not ideal whatsoever. But they won't play. MLS is the only league in the world that plays the schedule because of the way we operate here in the U.S. So, so it's not ideal. I don't know. I don't know what you do as the coach with that, other than probably get your guys maybe a half or 2/3 of a game, and then get your main guys out of there. Costa's not exactly the healthiest person in the world the last half of the season. So, and then who cares about? I mean, in terms of Philly, I wouldn't worry about who you're playing. So, just I don't know. That's my thought.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I mean, you can't change the seeding. I would still try and get everybody some minutes. I'd only give Acosta, the first half. I wouldn't play him the whole game. He's too important. You just can't have him anything less than 100% if you want to have any chance. Because, we've been saying it all year. They can't score a goal. They can't create really anything unless Lucho makes it happen. So, defensively, they kind of know how they have to play. So, you got to get those new guys in there, Teenage and the other guy, I can't remember his name. But, they're just going to have to play and continue to fine-tune that back line. Because that's really, that's going to be their recipe is to, win games 1-0 or 1-1, 0-0 and take your chance at penalty kicks. That's really going to be their recipe for the playoffs.
Yeah, I think is Miles Robinson on the men's national team roster right now?
He is, yeah.
So he's not even there to practice, so that's not helping because he's going to be your starter, one of your starting center backs. So
yeah.
So that already kind of screws up in terms of the working as a team because they do have a couple new back line guys. So
yeah.
I think that's been a theme all year long.
I think they play on Tuesday, and then they go back to their clubs on Wednesdays or on Wednesday. So a couple more training sessions, but hopefully he gets out of that Mexico game unscathed because that's a toss-up. whenever you're playing Mexico, even if it's just a friendly. There's a lot of bad blood there recently. So, I mean, the men's team, they already sent Pulisic home. They already sent, some of the big name U.S. players. They already sent them home. Like, they're not even going to have them play against Mexico just because. So.
Well, they don't want to take a battery upside the head either. So.
Well, yeah, right, because it's not just the players.
Oh, the players are the least you got to worry about.
Yeah.
I mean, that can of pop you're drinking, you're gonna get hit. You're gonna get hit with tons of those. So.
Yep.
Because they're playing in Mexico. That actually doesn't even matter if they play in the U.S. Like, if it's Southern U.S., it really doesn't matter. But
yeah,
they're playing in Mexico. You're taking your life in your own hands.
Yeah.
Speaking of taking your life in your own hands, let's move to the Reds here. They hired Francona. We talked a little bit about that last week. And, the only news is the Arizona Fall League, the return of, the reinforcements. As Phil Castellini and Crawl probably are like saying, yes, Matt McClain's home run, first at bat. Arroyo, opposite field double. CES, 113 mile an hour off the bat. We're back, baby. Right. So that could have been the worst thing that's happened for our free agency offseason acquisitions. As those three guys, it's good in a way that they're having they showed that, okay, Arizona Fall League, they took some swings, live at bats, and that's a good thing. But it could be a bad thing for the overall structure of this lineup in our roster.
Hopefully Francona doesn't let that happen. Hopefully he holds them to whatever promises were made.
Yep. I don't know if he almost like he was walking back a little bit in one of his comments saying, I don't care about the payroll. I just, you'll never hear me complain about the payroll or something like that. So, hopefully he never got crawled yet already, day one on the job. But, let's hope that doesn't happen. All right. Next up, we've got the Bengals preview. We are coming to you before the show.
About an hour into the game.
Before the show, yep. Kickoff here. So, hopefully they'll have a good evening. Sunday night, prime time in the Meadowlands. So I don't know. I'm a little weary about this team, about playing in prime time. I don't know. I hope they win, but it could be. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, it's the Bengals. Would you?
Right.
Who could they be playing right now where you wouldn't be worried about them playing?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, you thought they were going to lose to the Panthers, and they're probably the worst team in the league.
Patriots are right there. I mean, they just
and we lost to them.
We lost.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So
sorry, Phil, but they lost again today, I believe. So.
Oh, they did at home.
At home,
But so did the Panthers.
Yeah.
At least they were losing. I don't know. They were playing the Falcons. They were down.
Yeah. So. Falcons are up by 15 still.
Yeah. So Panthers.
The Texans. Yeah, Mixon had a big day against the Patriots. 103 yards on 13 carries. Receiving touchdown, 2 catches for 20 or 30 yards. But,
Yeah, I mean, I would say until we see this defense play better, we're going to be worried about any game and any team they're playing. Yeah. I mean, that's bottom line. I mean, it's different in the a couple years ago, whatever. The defense wasn't great, but it was middle of the pack, and that's all we ask. Defense, all we need is defense in the middle of the pack.
Right.
But they're not anywhere close to the middle of the pack. They're maybe the worst in the league right now. So, so until they play better against anybody, it really doesn't matter. I was going to say against a better team, but it really doesn't matter because they haven't played well against anybody. I mean, the Panthers included. So, so until that happens, we're going to be worried in every game. I don't feel good. I mean, I'm picking the Bengals to win tonight, but I wouldn't put a lot of money on that. Right. It's about me like picking horses. So in terms of that, so.
So previewing here. So what are some keys for Bengals victory? Give me 3, Sam.
I'll give you one. The first one that pops to my mind is the defense. I'd say has to force at least three and outs, or quick drive. Maybe a 6-play drive would be fine too. If you pin them back, whatever, and it helps with field position. But they've got to get off the field. They can't allow these 10-play that take up 6.5 minutes and then the other team scores. They can't do that. They need to get off the field quickly, allow the offense to get to work, allow the offense to stay in rhythm when they do get in rhythm. And I think that's the big thing, is defense getting off the field.
Okay. Carly, what's the takeaway for them to win?
I'd love to see I'll come from the defense again. Pressure on the quarterback from somebody other named Trey Hendrickson. So until that happens, he's a one-man show out there, and so they're going to key on him. I don't know why you wouldn't double him pretty much every passing snap for your other team, because no one else has shown they can get to the quarterback. So I'd love to see that happen, and that'd be the first thing I thought of for a takeaway.
I think my first thing was the interior offensive line has to hold up, because that is the strength of the New York Giants, is their interior pass rush. And, to me, if you give Burrow time like he had against, Baltimore, he's going to find the open receivers and he's going to do some damage. But if he doesn't have time, it could be happy feet Burrow and throwing it too early, or taking sacks and not throwing it at all. So that's one of my keys. Another key:
get Jamar Chase involved early. First play of the game, I want him touching the ball. We've said this for a while. We'd love to see him in the backfield some too, but that's just not their MO. So I'm not going to say that as a key to the game. But I want to see him, get 3, 4, 5 targets in the first quarter and just build on that. I want to see him get the ball early.
And I'll say utilizing the 2 running backs, figuring out the tandem between those two. I think Chase Brown's carry should increase between the 2 of them. I like using both of them, though. I think they both have, both are quality, NFL running backs. I just think Chase Brown's the more explosive of the 2. Part of why we got rid of Mixon was, he, in our mind, he wasn't explosive enough. He wasn't getting big plays. So if you're getting rid of a guy who has been your running back for whatever 7 or 8 years, then I would think you'd use the guy that is the more explosive of the 2 a little bit more. So I like the tandem, but seeing Brown a little bit more.
Yeah. So do we know? Let's see. Chase Brown.
They said they're both playing.
Okay. Well, that's good.
I haven't seen the official inactive list, but
no, he's not on the inactive list.
Yeah. So if you're not on the inactive, you're playing.
Right. You're dressing. The people that are on the inactive is Jermaine Burton, Lawrence Guy, Cedric Johnson, Tanner McLean, Andrew Stuber, and Jay Tufuli.
So that means all the defensive linemen are back then. Hill, Rankin. They're at least all,
right.
not inactive. So,
right.
Because Guy was the, they just picked him up a couple weeks ago.
Right.
As a, replacement. So that's good news from that standpoint, but means also, well, we got expectations should be higher too. That,
right.
All those guys are back.
I think special teams needs to change the field position a few times. If we have to punt, hopefully we don't. I was going to say I don't want to see the special teams on the field at all, but if we have to be on a punting situation, I think we need to be changing the field, putting them deep to start out, so that they have to drive, see if Daniel Jones can drive 85, 90 yards consistently. All right. Any more keys, do you think?
I would say one more is it kind of piggybacks off yours, but don't settle for field goals.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're moving the ball and you've got a 4th and 2, go for it. Don't kick the 48-yarder. Like, it's you know what your defense is, and until the defense tells you otherwise, you need to go score touchdowns. Not settle for field goals.
I like that. Crawley, anything else?
I think, I think I've mentioned the defense already. I think the number one key is just the defense has to play better.
Yep.
I mean, bottom line, because we don't
It's
see this
no-
defense play better against the Giants, and all these other things we're saying really don't matter. Who
Right.
cares about the
Right.
running backs? Who cares
Yeah.
about Jamar Chase? They don't matter unless we score 45 points in every game. And we're not playing a high-powered offense here.
No.
Daniel Jones, bottom half of the NFL. Can you name the running back? Bet you can't.
I do not know their running back.
There you go. It's not even Singletary. He's out.
Yeah.
So there you go. Can you name the receiver?
No, because
It's not Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, because he's
So
out.
there you go. I mean, we are facing a bottom 5 offense in this game tonight. The Bengals are.
Great. So
So-
we're going to sit back and let.
So I'm saying if
Daniel Jones
the
have
Giant,
confidence.
even if we win 40-35, that's bad.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll be happy they won, but I mean,
Right.
this Giants offense is not good. Even if they have everybody, they're not very good. But they're rolling against a JV team almost on offense here. So,
Right. And we need to get a win so that way we're in solidified 3rd place. And then Cleveland, who we play next week, is in the bottom.
That's a loss.
I don't know. Watson is pretty bad.
I don't-
Watson is pretty bad.
I think Jameis Winston's going to be starting next week.
I don't know. Stefanski said that.
Yeah, it sounds like it's not up to him. So
Right.
I know,
He said
but-
that Deshaun Watson's my guy.
Did he say that after the game today?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that's fine. He can go down with the ship
Yep.
because Deshaun Watson's tanking him on. I mean, he's just.
Yep.
I mean, Browns deserve it.
They're going to.
But I still, even if Deshaun Watson starts, I'm still picking the Browns. I don't care what happens tonight.
All right. So what do we got tonight? Who do you got? And what score? Predictions.
I'll go with the Bengals. I think it's going to be another high-scoring game. I'm going to go Bengals 38, Giants 31.
I'm going to go the Bengals. I'm confident on the Bengals on this one, and I think the Giants are. I mean, their offense cannot score with this team they got out there. So, granted, if they're going to score, it's going to be tonight. But I'm going to go Bengals 34-17.
I think the Bengals, I picked them to win, this game in the preseason. So I'm going to stick with them, even though it scares me because we have not played very well in the Meadowlands here of late. The Giants have won the last 2 games against us, I believe. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I said that the last time too, and our defense just was a sieve.
Our defense is just so bad.
I know, that's the thing. But I think, the Meadowlands, the wind, everything. I'm going to go 24-21 Bengals. That's what I'm going. I'm going a little lower scoring, but all right. As we said, we'll be back next Sunday to recap a little bit of this game and the Cleveland game. So hopefully, 2 victories, fingers crossed right there. All right. We are going to be moving into trivia time where you guys can play along if you think you know the answer. If you are watching us live on YouTube, which we come to you every Sunday night at this time, 7 p.m., just look for Cincy Sports Scene. You can put that in, and we'll see. You can put it in the live chat and see if you can come up with the answers. If not, you can always shoot us a DM on Instagram or Twitter at Cincy Sports Scene. So last week, Crawley, you had the question, and I think, did we get it? Or was there one that we didn't get?
You eventually got it, yeah.
And we eventually got it. Okay. You want to just recap that real quick for us?
I don't remember it. I didn't write it down.
There was something like
Oh, I know what it was. It was who's the only quarterback in
Yeah.
NFL history that's thrown 70 passes in a game?
Right, and it was
Right.
Bledsoe.
I don't.
Right?
Bledsoe.
Bledsoe. Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to Sam with the question for this week. What do you got?
All right. So last time I had pitchers with the all-time postseason wins. We're going to flip to the offensive side. We're going to go who has the most career postseason home runs. I want you to give me the top 6 because there's a bunch of guys tied for 6. So works out. We'll do 10 guys. So
Most postseason home runs of anybody, any team?
Yep. Anybody. Yep. Career.
Mantle.
Mantle is not on here. He would be tied for 10th, but we're not going that far.
Okay. There was somebody just recently, right? That just.
There's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 guys that are currently active right now on this list.
5 out of the 10?
Yep.
Judge?
No.
Judge is not one of them. Nope.
He hasn't been good.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
It's got to be well, not an active guy, the Red Sox guy.
Ramirez? No,
Well, it could be
Ortiz.
Manny Ramirez. I'm thinking
There you go.
Ortiz. I
Manny-
was thinking
Nope.
Ortiz.
Manny,
Oh, he's
Manny Ramirez is number 1 with 29.
well, he was on the Indians too
Yeah.
when they were. But Big Papi, huh? Not on there.
He's not on there.
About-
It's like Bernie Williams or something.
Bernie Williams is number 3 with 22.
Yeah, he was the Yankee killer for everybody.
Right.
Jeter on there?
Jeter is on there. He's number 5 with 20.
Wow.
Jeter's on pretty much every list, no matter
Yeah,
what he
if
did.
you're talking postseason, he was a
Right.
postseason player.
He
Yeah.
was.
So I got 1, 3, 5.
I'll give you a hint. 2 and 4 are both active players.
2 and 4 are both active. Okay. Ramirez, like Jose Ramirez for the Indians? No.
Nope.
Lindor?
Lindor, nope.
The Panda?
Nope. Kung Fu Panda did not make the list. No.
I was thinking you meant Pete Alonso, the polar bear,
Yeah, the
but he's
polar
not
bear,
on there
that's
either.
what I meant.
He's not on there either.
Yeah.
God, who's active? That's
I mean, 2 of these should be pretty obvious based on the team that they've made their run with. If that gives you another hint.
problem is we've had a lot of different teams that have
Yeah.
been doing things in the playoffs. I mean, who's Dodger guy? Mookie Betts?
What about
No.
Schwarber?
Schwarber is number 4
Schwarber.
with 20.
Oh, Bryce Harper?
And
Bryce Harper, no.
No. Ooh. Juan Soto?
Juan Soto, nope.
Schwarber was what number?
Schwarber was number 4.
So we need number
So you're
2.
looking at number 2
Schwarber has the 4th most home runs in
Yep.
postseason history.
Yeah.
with 21.
God, this statistic is worthless. He's not even the top 5,000 player in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, you need number 2, and everybody's
such a-
From Middletown.
I guess this is such. Well, yeah, of course. Now he's great because he's from local guy. Of course, you know, he makes him the best player ever.
No, not in my book because he went to IU. So you know. So number 2.
I'll give you.
I mean, is it
We'll go.
is it a Dodger? I'm trying to think of Dodger, but
There's no Dodger. There's 3 guys on here that play for the same team.
Any Cardinal?
There is a Cardinal.
Pujols.
Pujols is tied for 6 with 19.
Okay. Matt Carpenter.
It probably is.
Nope.
Yachty,
Not Matt Carpenter.
Yachty Molina.
Yeah.
It looks like everybody else is active.
Everybody else on the list.
Everybody else on the list is active.
Oh God, these are all just
just bad
random players.
Yeah. Oh, what about like Altuve?
Altuve is number 2.
Bergman.
Oh, the Astros, yeah.
Yeah.
Bregman is number 6. Yep.
What about who was their outfielder for a while?
Yeah, you got the right guy.
Michael Turner or
Michael
Turner.
Brantley?
Brantley?
No.
No, who is their center
Jose
fielder?
Alvarez or
Yep. You got center fielder. Yep.
It's but he plays for the
Plays for a different team
Blue
now.
Jays, I think now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, what's his name? Yes.
It's a blank dinger.
Yeah. George Springer.
Yeah,
George
there you go.
Springer. Yeah, that would
Yep.
George Springer.
George Springer. That's right.
And you're missing one more. Active player, shortstop.
Would be Turner, Trey Turner.
Carlos Correa.
Nope. Correa is almost. He's number 10.
Corey Seager.
Corey Seager. Yep.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, Dodger Ranger. Yeah.
Yep.
That's got that extra wild card round in there.
Well, yeah. When you went to
Yeah.
Mantle, that's the whole issue. Is that
Right.
they only played back then. They played the World Series basically, didn't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You won the National League, you won the American League, and
Yep.
then you played. So
Played the World Series. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. That was a good one. That was tough, but I had to think recent. All right. So now I was thinking old timers, like the Yankees were in it all the time.
yeah, I was gonna say Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, those type of things. But you're right.
Yeah. Once you get further down the list, you get those guys, the Reggie Jacksons, guys.
All right. We're
But
moving
yeah,
on.
they just can't compete with, they played one round and then the World Series or just the World Series, so.
Right.
All right, we are going to move on to our topic of the week, which are going to go to cities in which our beloved Bengals and Reds are the interdivision rivals. So we've got 6 cities plus Cincinnati that we are going to come up with the Mount Rushmore from pro sports. And it's not just basketball or baseball or football. It could be a basketball. It could be hockey. It could be soccer, whatever, right? Pro sports is the only criteria. So we'll see what it looks like. And then we'll put that out there and see if you guys can come up with a better list than us. All right. Who wants to go first? And where do you want to go?
I can go whatever.
Right.
I mean, what team? Just whatever.
Yeah, wherever you want to go.
Well, I guess we'll start with Cincinnati,
All right.
which I actually had the hardest time on.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I had like 6 guys. I was putting on there, and I had to just make decisions. So I went. My final 4 were the 3 I was most confident: Anthony Munoz, Johnny Bench, and Oscar Robinson are my top or my 3. And then this is where I came down to 3 guys, and I ended up going with Paul Brown.
Okay, so you went with could have been a non-athlete. So, okay.
What, Paul Brown? You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a couple of them.
Okay.
Well, if I had to go athletes, because the other 2 guys I was considering were athletes, I would have put Pete Rose on there. Would have been my next one. So.
Okay. All right. Sam, who do you have for the?
Yeah, so very similar to Crawley's: Bench, Munoz, Pete Rose, and then I put Joe Morgan as well. So I went 3 Reds, 1 Bengal.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much right there. I had Bench, Rose, Munoz, and then I was down between, if I went with Paul Brown or Barry Larkin. And then I was thinking, okay, outside the box, Marty and Joe. I mean, don't know. Because but I think we could agree Bench.
We all said Bench, Munoz.
We all said Bench and Munoz, yeah.
And we said Rose if you're making me do just athletes.
Yeah.
But I still would have gone Paul Brown. I mean, if I don't have to do athletes, it'd be Paul Brown.
Yeah. And that's who my 4th would be if I didn't do athletes, was Paul Brown. So it comes down to.
So then what if it's Bench, Munoz, Rose, Paul Brown?
I mean, our difference, I had the big O in there.
Right.
Yeah. And I left the Big O off ultimately just because people just don't think pro basketball when they think of Cincinnati. Even though, I mean, he did play, obviously, but
Right.
you just don't think of it that way anymore.
Yep. So bench rows, Munoz and Brown.
Okay.
Sounds good right there. Okay. Sam, where do you want to go next?
We'll just go over to the next one on my list, which is Pittsburgh, just because they're right next to Cincinnati on my list. So Pittsburgh, I've got Roberto Clemente, Sidney Crosby, Big Ben, and Mean Joe Green.
I have one of those guys.
Woo.
We definitely are different here. I only have one.
I just don't know the city of Pittsburgh, like where they would try and go, you know? Like that's what makes these other cities tough is I don't know what they're...
Wait a minute. Who'd you go with again?
Roberto Clemente, Sidney Crosby, Big Ben, and Mean Joe Green.
Oh, I had two. Okay, I had two of those four.
Yeah, I had this to me was probably the hardest, just because there was a lot, but the more
there's a lot of Steelers. There's a lot
of Steelers that you could have done, right?
So who'd you go with then?
So this is who I went with. I went with Lemieux, Clemente, Mean Joe Green, and Willie Stargell.
Nope. That was three. You had the first. First three were mine.
Okay,
and then I went Terry Bradshaw.
Okay. What are we going with, guys? Because
I just went Sidney Crosby because he's the most recent of their hockey. You know,
I mean, I looked at Pittsburgh. I even Googled Penguins best players to see what it said, and it was like Mario Lemieux.
Yeah.
There's no question. Like, it's not even close. Like I look at several sites.
Yeah,
so.
the Sporting News actually did this for like 15 cities or 13 cities. Pittsburgh was one of them, and Lemieux got the most points out of them all. And then Clemente was on there. Crosby was actually on there, and Mean Joe Green. And the reason they didn't bring any, they didn't put Franco Harris or Terry Bradshaw or Lynn Swan or anybody like that was because the Pittsburgh Steelers were known for their defense, right? The steel curtain, that was their calling card. And I don't know.
Yeah, but we don't do what they.
No, we don't. No, exactly. So.
I just think. When you think of the Steelers of that time period, Terry Bradshaw, was the quarterback for all four of those championships, and he's their known guy. And
so I guess it comes down to Bradshaw, Stargell, the beloved Pops, right?
And I had Stargell there originally, and then I was like, the Pirates. They're not that good of a franchise for baseball. There's no way I'm putting two Pirates and only one Steeler on this.
I don't think that
two Pirates and one Steeler on their Mount Rushmore.
It's Mount Rushmore.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Figures,
you could do four Steelers. If you ask Pittsburgh people, they've won four Steelers on there.
I think Clemente would be on there for sure.
I'm just saying, but I'm not putting two Pirates over and one Steeler.
Well, do you want two Penguins instead?
No.
So you want Bradshaw?
I think the Steelers are the team of Pittsburgh. I think if you had to pick somebody, clearly. So I think there should be two Steelers on there because of that.
Yeah, I agree.
Heck, you might do Chuck Noll over, as a guy. I didn't have him all mine, but I'm saying I think he's more deserving than Crosby or Stargell or whatever.
Ooh. So, or what about Art Rooney? Right, he means
the
Rooney family means a ton to Pittsburgh. So.
Yeah.
I'm okay with Bradshaw.
Yeah, I consider Jack Lambert even because I was thinking defense, but they have so many good defensive players from that time period.
Well, see, and I even thought of Hannes Wagner, right? Way back. That's what I'm saying. He was.
Yeah, I guess.
All right.
Whatever.
Bradshaw, I think. Probably Bradshaw.
That's fine.
I probably got the argument. I think that's good. He convinced us. All right.
Yay, Pittsburgh.
Yay. Yes, yay. All right. So let's go to Baltimore.
Baltimore. Okay.
Yeah, Baltimore. And to me, I thought this was probably the easiest one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think.
I think Cleveland was actually my easiest.
Cleveland was the hardest for me. I couldn't come up with four.
Oh, I did,
was
but
tough.
I had to go back. I had to go ways
Yeah.
back. But okay,
Yeah.
what you
All
want?
right, so
Let's go Baltimore.
So I got Jim Palmer,
Cool.
Ray Lewis, Johnny Unitas, and Cal Ripken Jr.
I had two.
I had two as well. But as soon as you said one of them, I would switch to what you said. Now that I think about it.
All right, Sam, who do you have?
So I had Cal Ripken Jr., Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and Frank Robinson.
Oh, I forgot about Frankie. Yeah.
I had Ed Reed as well, but I would take Johnny Unitas over Ed Reed. I didn't even think about the Colts. I was just thinking Ravens. So
yeah.
So I had Ray Lewis, Cal Ripken, which we're agreeing on, I think everybody. And then I had Brooks Robinson. And I had Ed Reed, but I would go Johnny Unitas as I'd go him over Ed Reed, but I'd be fighting for Brooks Robinson. Frank Robinson was a Red. Frank Robinson, half his career was a Red, so Brooks Robinson was only an Oriole.
So with Jim Palmer.
Yeah, but I'm saying over Frank Robinson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought of Jim Palmer. I look. That's who I came down to: Palmer versus Brooks Robinson.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I forgot about Johnny Unitas. So, I mean, I guess, yeah, it's hard. Like, I don't know. I don't know Baltimore people like that. I don't know if they would go Unitas or Reed.
Probably Unitas.
Well, the younger ones would go Reed, and the older ones would go Johnny
Younger ones
Unitas.
would go Lamar Jackson, but
the real young ones, the real young ones. But I'm talking of like 30, 40-year-olds.
Yeah. I did not put any active players on my list. Just as
I don't think I have any
career. I don't either.
Yeah, you can't. All right, so what can we?
I guess technically I do have an active player on my list.
All right, so
well, we got Lewis and Ripken for sure. So then it's just a matter of where you go from there. I like Johnny Unitas. I like him as a third.
All right, so it comes down to Palmer or Brooks Robinson.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'd lean Brooks Robinson, just personally.
Okay, I can live with that. I like Brooks, human vacuum, down there. I mean, Palmer did pitch in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. The only
those cool hair commercials.
That's right. Broadcast, he had the palm ball, right? So, all right, I'm good with Brooks Robinson. Okay, Sam.
I guess I'm Cleveland.
It's Crawley.
Oh, Crawley, sorry.
Yeah.
Cleveland.
I'll go Cleveland, and like I said, this was actually easy, but I had to go back in time, like Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. I have some. You know me. I have them. I have the old timers on here.
Yeah. So I Jim Brown. I mean, had to go that. I had LeBron.
Yep.
I had Bernie Kosar, and I had Otto Graham.
Oh,
okay.
Ooh.
I mean, Otto Graham and Jim Brown are the champions. So so is LeBron.
Right.
And you have no other. I mean, you don't have anything else to pull from a championship standpoint. So.
Right.
So I was trying to think, okay, Browns in the 80s, 90s, who stands out? Bernie Kosar to me was kind of like their guy. So that's why I went with him.
All right. So,
but I'm open for debate on that one, definitely.
All right, Sam, who did you?
So I had LeBron and Jim Brown, like Crawley.
Yep.
And then I didn't have a fourth until just recently. I went way, way, way back. Cy Young, the Cleveland Spiders.
Oh, so you went way back. Okay.
Way back. And then my fourth, I actually put Joe Thomas. I think he's their version of our Anthony Munoz.
Yeah. I saw that a lot as well. But here's my four. I got Jim Brown, LeBron James. I had Bob Feller. And then I had Tris Speaker on there. I totally forgot about Otto Graham. I did. I thought about I had Bernie Kosar down on my list here, but I was like, ooh, and then
I'm open for that one. I would fight for Otto Graham more than I'll fight for Bernie Kosar. I mean,
Yeah,
Otto Graham was the
I think
quarterback
Otto
for all
Graham
those
should-
50s, 60s. So.
Yeah, I think Otto Graham should be there. And I think Bob Feller. I mean, you're talking Indians, right?
I mean, what about Pedro Serrano or Willie Mays Hayes?
Wild Thing.
Yeah, they probably put Wild Thing up there before. Yeah.
Jim Tomey.
I mean, those guys might be more well known than any actual Indian player.
Right.
Yeah.
Charlie
Yeah.
Sheen. So, which is kind of ironic that he's a big Reds fan and he had to be an Indian. But
Yeah, I'm okay with Bob Feller.
all right, Bob Feller. There it is. Good. I got one finally. Woohoo! All right, Sam. Is it your turn or is it my turn?
It's my turn. We will go.
We got 3 left.
Got 3 left. Milwaukee, Chicago, St. Louis. We'll go ahead and go Chicago. Which is actually one of the tougher ones for me, except for some reason for Chicago, I came up with a bunch of names. But the obvious one is MJ. And then I had Walter Payton. And then I went Cubs. I went Ernie Banks.
Mm-hmm.
And then I struggled on my 4th one, but I think I'm going to go with Jim Thorpe.
You are going way back. Okay.
All right. So what's it? I'm next, I guess.
I mean, the Bears just don't have a whole lot to really actually choose from, you know?
Well, I mean, you had.
I didn't want to put 2 Bulls on there, but I think you can maybe make it that case.
So
yeah,
I
thought I considered Pippen. I'm assuming you're talking about Pippen, bro.
Yeah.
So I went MJ, Ernie Banks, Walter Payton, and then it came down to did I want to go like with an icon of Mike Ditka, the Bears, right?
Yeah, I thought about it too.
Or do I want to go with Bobby Hall? And that's who I went with, just because of the ice hockey there. And Phil will give me a pat on the back for that one. So.
Okay. Well, I went with the same 3 of Jordan, Payton, and Ernie Banks, and then I went Ditka.
Okay.
I figured as player and coach.
Right.
Yeah.
Super Bowl, only Super Bowl coach.
Yeah.
Played for all those years. I mean, he is the Bear.
The Bear. This is Papa Bear Hallis.
Yeah, I'd be fine with throwing Ditka on there instead of Thorpe.
And I had, welcome fans, it's today's game. Harry Carey. That's who I had as well. As you know, if we were going with non-athletes, because he was Mr. Cub after Ernie Banks, right? All of my generation watching Cubs on WGN in the 80s. So
yeah, you would get votes for that for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But I like Ditka. I'm okay with Ditka there as well. All right. My turn. Let's go. Let's go with Milwaukee.
Now that was Green Bay as well, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say,
yes.
I got to start all over again if it's only Milwaukee.
Yeah. All right. So I went with Hank Aaron, Brett Favre, Robin Yount, and Vince Lombardi. Because Hank Aaron did hit. He played his first 12 seasons in Milwaukee, and then he finished his career.
Okay.
He hit 420 home runs with.
True. I think if you ask the average person, though, he's thought of as a Atlanta Brave, not a Milwaukee Brave. So I think that ruins his chance of that.
Yeah, it's like Oscar. I get it. Yeah.
So, I forgot I do have an active player. This is my one active player. I went Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, I thought maybe you're going to go.
No, I went Aaron Rodgers, Vince Lombardi, Bart Starr, and Robin Yount.
Gotcha.
I mean, Lombardi's the Super Bowl's named after him. The trophy. Right. Bart Starr is just, I mean, he's the Green Bay Packer, and Aaron Rodgers. I went down to Rodgers versus Favre and back and forth on that one, but I chose Rodgers and then Robin Yount. So, but I'm up for any of those.
Yeah. So I had Favre, Rodgers, Robin Yount, and I put Giannis on there. I actually did have another active. I guess Rodgers is.
Oh, Giannis, yeah.
I did put Giannis on there.
I mean, here's where you could have Kareem, or you could have
Oscar.
Oscar
played there. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think they would, if you asked them right now, they would go Giannis over those two because he's only played in Milwaukee.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it's a valid point.
I just don't know if
I
he's
had
played
Giannis-
long enough, but that'd be
Right.
my only issue against him, but I wouldn't be opposed to it.
I think that the championship puts him up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like I said, I think we all said Robin Yount.
Right.
Yeah.
But the other three, I'm up for whoever. Like, if you think
Well-
Favre over Rodgers, or you think, I
Well,
just
we
think
also
Vince
said
Lombardi because
Lombardi,
he's so well
right?
known.
Already,
No.
yeah.
I don't think Sam did.
Did you
I
say-
didn't, but I mean, that's because I just wasn't going the coach route when I was,
Right.
but I mean, that's definitely, if that's the route you guys want to take, I'm not opposed to kicking Giannis off and throwing Lombardi on mine. So
Yeah.
I guess it comes down to which two of the three quarterbacks you want to put on.
I mean, I had Favre over Rodgers just because I think he's the one that elevated it back up. That the Green Bay. I mean, I know Magic Man.
I was going to say, you're forgetting
Yeah.
Magic Man.
Yeah, Magic Man, but Favre took it to a whole another level. But I mean, I can see. The thing is, right? Rodgers left. Favre left, Favre stuck it to the people in Milwaukee and Green Bay because he went to the Vikings. I mean, I like Bart Starr.
You guys can decide because
Yes.
it really don't matter.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at it, say I'm from Milwaukee and I'm as diehard a Packers fan as I am a Bengals fan, I would go Starr and Rodgers because Favre went to the Vikings.
Right.
That's my mindset on it.
Maybe that's where Aaron Rodgers will go.
Any other Brewer?
I mean,
No.
Paul Molitor was my other consideration,
Yeah,
but
he played with the Twins there towards the end of his career.
I don't think there's anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, there's not anybody recently. I mean, Ryan Braun's the only
Ryan
name.
Braun, yeah, he was the best of the. Yeah, but
Yeah.
he's not. He wouldn't go on the Mount Rushmore.
No.
Not against all those Packers.
No. Maybe
Even-
it's Mount Rushmore. But
Even Giannis, I would definitely pick Giannis over
Yeah,
Ryan Braun.
Bug's Life. So, all right, so let's go with I'm good with Lombardi. No Todd Marinovich or
What?
who was the
He was a Raider.
yeah, who was the Tony Mandridge, right?
Oh,
Wasn't
yeah.
he- wasn't
The
he-
biggest
yeah.
bust ever.
Yeah, Tony Mandridge. We got, yeah. So let's go with Robin Yount for sure, and then
Lombardi,
Starr,
Rodgers.
and Rodgers. I'm good with that. All right, and then the last one, right? St. Louis.
Yep.
Is that me again, or is that?
That's you.
That should be you.
Yeah, this is another one. I was just like, yeah, it's St. Louis. I don't care about them. But of course, none of these I care that much about. So I went with Kurt Warner, Ozzie Smith, Stan Musial, and then it came down to Pujols or Brett Hall. And so since I decided to mix it up, so I went Brett Hall.
All right, nice. Sam.
So I went Pujols, Bob Gibson, Kurt Warner, and Stan Musial.
I went Pujols, Musial, Gibson, and Brett Hall. Because same thing, Kurt Warner.
Yeah, I mean he's got other teams, but
He's got other teams, and I mean, yeah, I know.
Greatest show on turf, got him a Super Bowl.
Got him a Super Bowl, but
the only St. Louis Ram that I mean
Marshall Faulk. I consider
Yeah.
Marshall Faulk.
Yeah,
But-
I considered some of the like who was it, Dan Deerdorf, from the Cardinals.
Yeah.
he was.
Well, who do we have? Who had 2 votes?
well, Musial had all three.
Musial.
Yeah,
So Musial's in.
right.
Kurt Warner had. Did you say Kurt Warner, Sam?
I did, yeah.
So he's got 2 votes. No one else said Ozzie Smith, huh? I was the only one.
Yeah.
I had Ozzie down, but then I realized, shit, I forgot Bob Gibson. So I had to put Gibson over Ozzie.
Yeah, I had Bob Gibson too, so that's 2 for
I
both.
put Pujols over Ozzie. I mean,
yeah.
Even though I loved Ozzie, but
I didn't, but I just think, I mean, when you think of 80s Cardinals, he's the guy.
Right.
So
Helm, Vince Coleman, Willie McGee.
And we had 2 votes for Brett Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Because didn't you go Hall?
I went Hall.
And we had 2 votes for Pujols.
2 votes for Pujols.
So that's Pujols, Hall, Musial, Kurt Warner.
Ooh.
And Gibson. We had 5 guys with 2 votes.
Yeah, we had 5 guys with 2 votes, yeah. So
it's a matter of who gets the boot, yeah.
I mean, I guess the question is, what does St. Louis care more about, the Rams or the Blues? And I mean, the Rams are gone.
Right. They'd probably say the Blues just because,
Yeah.
I mean, they're at least, I mean, they've been around for
a
lot longer.
Brett Hall was, I mean, he was beloved in that city. More so than Kurt Warner.
Okay. Well,
I'm fine with it. That's everyone go.
Yeah.
So, all right.
So that means we have 3 Cardinals and 1 Blue.
And 1 Blue. Yep.
So,
okay.
All right. There we have it. So let's recap. Cincinnati, we had Bench Rose, Munoz, and Paul Brown. For Baltimore, we had Brooks Robinson, Ray Lewis, Johnny Unitas, and Cal Ripken Jr. For Cleveland, we had Jim Brown, LeBron James, Bob Feller, and Otto Graham. For Pittsburgh, we had Lemieux, Clemente, Green, and Bradshaw. For Chicago, we had MJ, Ernie Banks, Walter Payton, and Mike Ditka. And then for Milwaukee, we had Aaron Rodgers, Robin Yount, Vince Lombardi, and who was the other one?
Rodgers, Lombardi,
Starr,
Yount,
and Starr.
And Starr, Bart Starr, yep.
Starr.
Yeah. And then we had Pujols, Brett Hall, Musial, and Bob Gibson. All right. So, pretty fun activity.
Yeah, too bad we don't know. I mean, I don't know people from these other cities. It'd be interesting to see what they would pick.
Yeah.
I really
Maybe
don't.
We'll reach out. So if you're coming across us, if you're from one of these other cities, reach out to us and let us know who you would pick and who.
And I don't want to hear some fake Steeler fan that's from Cincinnati or whatever.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So Hubbard, don't tell us. Don't.
He's a Bengal fan.
Yeah, I know he is, but he's a Kansas City Royal.
Yeah, if you're one of those Reds Steelers fans, you can sit this one.
Yeah,
you don't get both.
Exactly.
Well, not if you're a Red Steeler fan from Pittsburgh.
Well,
I guess okay. Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if they exist, but
right. Well,
might.
I'm talking about these Steeler fans that have nothing to do with Pittsburgh. They just pick the Steelers because they win all the time and won all the time. There's a lot of those around here.
There are.
Yeah, there is a lot of them around here. That's true.
There are. So, all right. Well, we may venture out into this again and get some big cities who we think might be that. But yeah, next week we got a good show coming for you. We'll let you know what it is when we figure it out. So,
we'll have 2 Bengal games, won't we?
Yeah, we'll have 2 Bengals games.
Because don't they play? Do they play 1:00 next week? I don't even know.
I think so. Yep, Cleveland 1:00.
There's no way that game's not on at 1:00.
Right.
No way.
They might put it to like Thursday.
Second half. Bengal Brown games are always in prime time.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, if they're on Halloween, yeah.
That's right, but it's not Halloween.
They might put that one to London and just
play at
Mexico City, man. They're going to Mexico City, Brazil, Rio. Who knows? They just might not even play it and just get mad.
Call it a tie and let's go.
Yeah, I think if you have a Madden simulcast, that might actually be more entertaining. But
Bengals need that for their 4 wins in a row coming up.
Well, that's true. They do. Let's hope. But it starts tonight. right? They gotta keep it going. You gotta hold Daniel Jones down, all that good stuff. So we'll be back next week, recapping both Bengals games, any Reds news, FC Cincinnati, and the Bearcats. So it'll be a busy show for the week that was, and we'll have a good trivia next week as well. So
maybe if the FC Cincinnati wins the MLS Cup, Lucho Acosta would go on the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, he has to retire first, and then I'll put him on there. But
just saying,
so.
that would be somebody off the grid. We didn't pick any.
Yep.
We didn't pick any soccer guys.
Well, I mean, outside of Chicago, no other team has a soccer team. Or I guess St. Louis does now, but I mean, they've only been 2 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell one person on any of those teams. So
no, I can't.
I couldn't tell you anybody from Chicago Fire.
I could hardly tell you two people from FC Cincy. So I'm just being transparent.
I can do better than that. But.
That's not my sport. So
we didn't pick any stingers or any what was
Royals.
Some of the what?
Well, you had the Royals.
I had Oscar.
You had Oscar.
No, I'm talking about like the Silverbacks and the who else? All those minor league. Who were the Marina football teams?
I thought you were talking about the roller derby, the girls.
Yeah, the Cincinnati Rockers. That was a basketball team.
Apparently, Cincinnati's getting an arena football team
again.
Whenever the season starts up.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
when that is, I don't know.
Bank?
I
mean, usually that's what they do, and they play for half a season, and then
it folds.
It folds. Yeah.
Yep. The money runs out. We had $75 to spend, and it's the per diem. All you can eat at MCL cafeteria. So here we go. No offense to MCL, people like it.
Cyclones.
Yep. Perfect. All right, let's get out of here on that note. So,
all right, go
until
watch
next week.
Bengals W.
Yep.
Okay. Well,
all right, 10 minutes till kickoff. So,
okay. See you guys later.
Take care, everybody.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.